Continuing coverage of the Lindsay Clancy trial. This is day 4 of testimony set to start in this absolutely all-around heartbreaking case of a mother who is standing trial for the murder of her 3 children with the question, was she criminally responsible at the time, or is she criminally negligent, and will she face a lifetime behind bars?
Welcome to the global phenomenon, Surviving the Survivor. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning journalist, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. This is live trial coverage of Lindsay Clancy out of Plymouth, Massachusetts. And today is day 4 of testimony. There were 9 different law enforcement and EMT workers who took the stand yesterday in rapid fire succession. A lot of it was redundant and a lot of it was difficult to listen to about the 3 kids, Cora, Dawson, and Callan, what they looked like, how they were positioned, information about the exercise bands, stuff that is just so difficult to listen to. And then once again, court just around noon, I want to say, abruptly ended, and we're not exactly sure why. These 9 witnesses went through very quickly. So far, we have heard from those 9 witnesses. The prior day, we heard from the general manager at the CVS who took a call about the baby Miralax from Lindsay Clancy, for that person to just say that she sounded perfectly normal. She sounded okay. There was no slurred speech. She seemed to be cogent and cognizant of her surroundings and what she was up to and what she was ordering. And the same exact testimony, almost to a T, from the hostess at the 3V restaurant in Plymouth, Massachusetts, which is where she had her husband pick up food from that night. The Commonwealth says there was a window of opportunity to commit this hideous crime, and it was deliberate. And Kevin Reddington, the defense for Lindsay Clancy, the only counselor behind her table, and a very savvy one who's been doing this for the better part of 40-something years at the age of 74, he looked and continues to look almost aggravated that the Commonwealth has brought these charges against his client. So this battle continues on. The question is, no court Tuesday this past week, and that was for something that was previously disclosed. But there have been a lot of breaks and an early dismissal on 2 of the 3 days of testimony so far. This morning, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Maine is in the house. There is a field trip scheduled, and none of us are exactly sure how this is going to work out. We believe court will be reconvened right around 9 a.m., which is 2 minutes away. I'm sure the Judge William Sullivan, will welcome in the jurors, and then they will summarily head out of court onto a bus, which we will not be part of, and they will go and visit the crime scene and possibly, he said, a couple of other stops. I'm presuming the CVS and the 3V restaurant, and then they'll be back in the afternoon. So we'll bring you a court. You see the seal from the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts that is up there. We will bring you the beginning of court right now, assuming we see the judge and the jurors and the defendant and everyone else prior to this quote-unquote field trip. They'll go out again on that field trip, and then the judge said that they would resume testimony in the early afternoon. The way things have been going, I would not be too surprised if court ends early. Either way, 11 a.m. this morning, Karm is checking in from the Holy Land, 8,000 miles away, and she's going to weigh in on her thoughts on Lindsay Clancy and whether or not she believes she should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. This is an exhibit photo. This is evidence here, and you can see, I believe that is one of the exercise bands on the top left side of that photo, which is tough to look at. Here's a photo of the home that they're going to go visit today, and it's said to be completely different looking. I don't know how much different looking. We are, as far as I know, not going to be able to see anything at all on this field trip. I don't think they're taking a little GoPro with them. I would highly doubt it. So, Sean, love the STS cap. Thank you. I don't know that these are for sale in the merch shop, but there are items for sale. And the COE made some STS hats in the merch store. If you want to take a peek on your way in, if you'd be so kind as to like and subscribe, please do so. We've also got an active Patreon page. But coming up at 11 a.m., Karm will be here. We will do sort of our regular show, hopefully with a little less nonsense than usual. Some might be wishing for more, but it has been a long, difficult week here. We're still coming to you high atop an undisclosed building in Miami Beach and well below Walter Cronkite, one of the great journalists, broadcast journalists of our time. The theme of the new studio is sort of vintage journalism. And we're going to be working this weekend to bring you the studio, maybe as soon as next week. It all depends on our good friend Luis, who is putting together the production side of the studio. So with that said, it is now 1 minute after the hour on the eastern seaboard of the United States of America, which is where this trial is happening. And court is supposed to start now. And we are going to hear from Judge William Sullivan and see what he says about this impending field trip that they are about to go on. I'm curious, two things. Where are you coming to? What exotic locale are you coming to us from? And do you feel in your heart of hearts that Lindsay Clancy should be convicted in this case and sent to a state prison for life with some of the worst criminals on planet Earth? Or do you think that she was in a state of postpartum psychosis, as our experts have said? And do you feel that she should be remanded to a psych hospital? Either way, she is not walking out of this courtroom and just going home. That is not happening. Her two choices are going to be state prison, likely for the remainder of her life, or it will be a psych hospital where a judge and doctors will oversee and decide when and if she would ever get out of that psych hospital. Romania is in the house. Toronto, Ontario, Canada, our original true crime story with Dan Markel is from there. Bosnia is in the house. This is getting close to Karm territory. She was failed by the system. You've got 10 Jules. Bayou Babe says psych hospital. Kelly McClellan says psych hospital. So far, overwhelmingly, psych hospitals or a psych hospital. We've got Arlington, Virginia, psych hospital. Emmy Nikolov is coming to us from the Bay Area. Nashville, Music City is in the house. Coming to us from Quincy, Mass, with the Quincy, Mass wicked accent. And this is D. Condon. Thinks Lindsay should be in a psych hospital. From Scotland, not too exotic. You kidding me? I took my son to the Scotland Brazil soccer game. The Scots could not have been nicer to my son. There's a song, Free From Desire, which is like a World Cup anthem, and the Scots were singing it, and now my son sings it, and they replaced the words with words around Scotland. Rhode Island says psych hospital. Tennessee, undecided. That's honest and interesting. Emmy Nikolov, who knew, originally from Bulgaria. The home of powerlifters is Bulgaria. A lot of powerlifters come from there. Berlin, Germany. I'm not going to go in my rant about how we're a global phenomenon, but we're certainly not a local phenomenon. We've got every country here represented. Buckeye says psych hospital from Georgia. I don't know if they mean the state or they mean the country, Georgia, but I'll go with the state since it says Buckeye and Buckeye, maybe Ohio State Buckeye. I don't know. I'm just guessing there. South Carolina in the house. I'm from the UK. Australia's in here. And then this one, I'm from the UK. I'm torn, but psychological ward from a mother of two. Psych hospital. So a lot of, and you guys are the jurors here. You're going to be like the jurors. Look at this. You say, hey, Joel, you're ridiculous. You call your show a global phenomenon. Well, you got Undecided from Canada, followed by Zagreb, Croatia, once again, close to my mother's area of the world, London, Turkey. What am I supposed to call this? I'm supposed to call this a Florida phenomenon, an American phenomenon? No, this is a global phenomenon. Blackpool in the UK. I've heard of Liverpool. I've never heard of Blackpool. West Ireland, Cape Town, South Africa. You bring them up, COE. I keep double punching. Sunny Cape Town, South Africa. I watched a documentary of a woman who also unalived 3 of her things as a COE cuts me off. I'm from the state of Georgia. There you go. Donna Means. The Deep South. Doesn't get any more deep south than Miami, but you know the old saying, the further north you go in Florida, the more southern it gets. Hello from Indianapolis, Indiana, the home of car racing and the Indy 500. We've got it all represented here. I've worked in both. The hospital is worse, at least in Nashville. Really? Sandra, in a sentence or two in the chat, explain, why is the hospital worse? Dubai is in the house. Next time someone sends me an email saying you're ridiculous for calling your show a global phenomenon, I'm going to send them a clip of this. Staten Island, Italian jump.
Yes, please.
Your Honor, before the court, we have the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. Ms. Clancy is present. She is represented by Attorney Kevin Reddington. The Commonwealth is represented by Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague and Assistant District Attorney Shannon Buckingham.
All right. Well, good morning, counsel. Good morning, Ms. Clancy. I'm sorry. Counsel, before we've got the view on for today, what I'd like to do is talk to you about another matter, sidebar, just briefly, if we could.
Remind me never to take a drink of my coffee when court starts, because within 11.3 seconds, they're at a sidebar every single day. And that is the case now. The judge, William Sullivan, saying he's got to discuss a couple of other matters. However, Iceland's in the house. We were there. Raga Sig. My wife and I in February were in Iceland, one of the most beautiful countries I've been to. If you see the Odyssey in the movies right now, it was filmed in Iceland. Hello from Qatar, originally from England. Love your show. Thank you, Caroline. I mean, I hate to harp on this, but we are, in fact, a global phenomenon. I don't know how else to say this. The judge, do you think the visit will be helpful? What do you guys think? I run everything by you. I have no idea. I don't know how much it would help me to go look at the house. I don't know. Maybe to look out the window. Did she really try to unalive herself? Did she really jump out of there? Some people suggested she sort of fell out of there. I guess in theory, it helps to go look at stuff. During the Alec Murdoch trial, they went to the property called Moselle, which is now sold and re-owned by someone. Derbyshire, England's in the house. Norway is in the house with Erling Braut Haaland. Erling Braut Haaland. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you think I'm crazy. Erling Braut Haaland is the superstar football player from Norway, and my son is begging for a jersey. Don't forget about Wales with Sazza Sky. Would never forget about Wales. Croatia's in the house right next to Karm land, which is where my mom is from, in Serbia. What do you think? Do you think that this field trip today will help jurors decide? I doubt it. I mean, I really doubt it. I have no idea. I mean, how much is that going to weigh in on them? Someone, by the way, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but someone sent me, for those who are in Ireland, it's almost an identical case to this, almost identical. And I believe she was sent to a psychiatric hospital. I have to look it up, but I sent it to the COE yesterday, and I actually thought about reaching out to some people in Ireland related to that story, because it's literally like a mirror image of this story. And then you hear we had Joe Krowski on the show, who said that there was another case like this, very similar, in Brockton, Massachusetts, and it involved an African-American woman, and that woman was convicted. So then you have to ask yourself the question, is it a fair justice system, period? Does it favor the wealthy? Duxbury, where this happened, is a very wealthy community, well-to-do people. Does the judicial system slant in a certain direction, favoring wealthier people who are of better means with better attorneys? Kevin Reddington said to be one of the best. COE pointing out different laws in Ireland. That's a pretty good point, I guess. Why you always have to steal my thunder, COE? Again, if you're just joining, this is day 4 of testimony. It is Friday, July 31st. It is hard to believe. The days fly by. The months, well, the days go kind of slowly, especially when the kids are out of school. But the months and years fly by. And we are now at the end of July already. And this trial is well underway. As you can tell, we're still bringing it to you. This weekend, we're hoping to get the studio up and running. It will, I'm sure, take longer than we think it's going to take. Yesterday, I had some very odd computer issues, which seem to be resolved for no particular reason today. If anything happens, I'll have the COE run over here. Hope everyone is having a great day. The plan right now is that these jurors are likely going to head out on their field trip momentarily. We will leave this chat and this stream up throughout the court day today. Please do not fight. Please do not yell. Please do not curse. If you have a differing viewpoint, share it. But be nice about it. Be nice about it. And don't think I'm this holier than thou guy, because I'm the first guy to probably flip somebody off in traffic. But I'm working on it. And I suggest we all do that. Now, they will likely be on their field trip, which is why Karm is coming on at 11 a.m., which is an hour and 47 minutes away. And then at 11, Karm and I will do like an hour show on this, and hopefully the COE will have a few clips from Patrick Clancy and others, maybe the opening statement from Kevin Reddington, and we will get Karm's take on all of this. And then by the time the show is over, they should be back from their field trip. Now, if they get back from the field trip mid-Karm show, you then have a choice. You can watch Karm and I doing a show, or you can be here watching the trial. So we give you options here at Surviving the Survivor. It really does help us more than anyone understands to just hit that like and subscribe button, and helps us tremendously if you've got a little extra to join Patreon. We do this with a very small team. And you watch a lot of YouTubers who have like 20, 25 people working on their staff. Not the case here. We are scrappy. We are small, but we are mighty. So look at this. 10 jewels, gold coin right here. I was at my kid's soccer game last night talking to a super nice guy. I'll tell you the story after. About to hear again from Judge William Sullivan. Or we're just going to hear papers, one or the other.
All rise. Jurors enter.
Here come the jurors.
Hear ye. All persons having anything to do before the Honorable William Sullivan, Justice of the Superior Court now sitting in Plymouth, within and for the Commonwealth. Draw near and give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This court is now in session. Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, please.
Your Honor, before the court today, we have the continuation of the jury trial in the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. Ms. Clancy is present. She is represented by Attorney Kevin Reddington. The Commonwealth is represented by Assistant District Attorney Shannon Buckingham and Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. So what I want to do is first I'm going to ask you those questions, make sure everybody was able to follow my instructions, and then I'm going to discuss a little bit about what we're going to do today in our schedule. So first off, the first question is, any member of the jury read, seen, or overheard anything from any source that would affect your ability to be a fair and impartial juror in this case? All right. Well, next question is there any other serious matter or concern bearing on your service as a juror in this case? Anybody needs to bring to my attention? All right. So again, thank you for following those instructions. And so what I want to do is just talk a little bit about the next part of the trial, which is the view. All right, you hear people talk about it. Now, I already kind of blew my cover when I said I couldn't control the weather. I would have taken credit for the fact that it's a beautiful day today, but I already told you I couldn't control that. So, but a view. So let me explain kind of what a view is. Give you this very brief instruction in regards to that. Members, you're about to visit and go by a number of places that you've heard testimony about during the trial. Right? And the terminology we use for that, as I've said, is a view. Now, the purpose of the view is to help you better understand the evidence that you've heard and will hear during the trial, and to help you appreciate the location, the surroundings about these different areas. All right, now, the view that you're going to take is part of the case. The observations that you make while on the view may be used by you and considered by you in your deliberations in reaching a verdict. So you can consider what you're about to see during the course of the view. The places that we're going to go to in this case, we're going to drive to the CVS that was described. We're not going to get out, but we're going to see where that is. Then we're going to drive by that restaurant, 3V, I think it's called, in Plymouth. So we're going to drive there. Then we're going to go back to the home, which is at 47 Summer Street, and you'll have an opportunity to go inside the house. You'll go in there with the court officers, the lawyers, myself, and because we've got a large jury here, what we're probably going to do is break it up into maybe 3 groups of 6. All right, so we'll take 6 and we'll all go down. We'll look at different areas. The attorneys will point out certain things that they may want you to take note of. But you can look at everything as far as just view it. When you're in there, you're not to do any independent research. You're not to kind of open up drawers or open up doors or anything like that. So the attorneys will give you an opportunity, and we'll give you an opportunity to just kind of look around and view that. And so after that, you're not to return to the scene. In other words, after you do this, you're not to go back if you have these unanswered questions or anything like that. You're not to go back. This is your chance to see these areas in this residence. All right. Like I said, you can consider what you're about to see as part of the evidence in the case. Now, During the trip to and back from these places, you're not to discuss the case or anything about it amongst yourselves or with anyone. When you're coming back, you're not to discuss on the bus, hey, we saw that, or did you see this, things like that. That's, as they say, that's verboten. All right, you can't talk about that on the way to and from. And so, as I indicated, you're going to be under the supervision of the court officers. I'd ask you to follow their instructions carefully. They're very experienced in doing these, and so they'll help you kind of go through this and set up, break up into those groups. And so, just so you know, the one group will 6 will go into the house, the others will stay on the bus. Okay, and when you're on the bus, you're not to discuss the case either. Geez, I can't wait to see this or that. None of that. All right, it's probably pretty obvious, but I just kind of have to kind of go through those instructions with you. And so what we're going to do now, I'm going to excuse you so you can kind of get yourselves together. We'll bring you back down on the bus. Myself, the attorneys will join you there, and then we will, I think we're going to go first to the CVS in that restaurant first, and then second we'll go to that address in Duxbury. All right? Okay, thank you. Oh, geez, I got ahead of myself. I'm told we have to swear in the court officers, so I apologize.
Will the court officers please come forward and raise their right hand? Do each of you solemnly swear that you will take this jury upon the premises in question and then suffer them to view the same or any property, place, or thing bearing upon the issue in this trial, as they shall think necessary, that you will not permit the parties to enter into debate within the hearing of the jury, nor any person to speak to them, unless it be Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague or Assistant District Attorney Shannon Buckingham on part of the Commonwealth, and Attorney Kevin Reddington on part of the defendant, and they only to point out such places and things that they deem expedient for the determination of the issues, and that you will keep this jury together until they shall return to the court unless the court shall otherwise order. So help you God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we can take them. Thank you.
All rise, please. Juror, this way, please.
I'll go in first. Had that problem before.
Judge, next to the courtroom.
All right. Counsel, anything we need to address before
No,
the
Your
view?
Honor.
All right, Counsel, so we'll be in recess at this time to resume. As soon as we come back from the view, we'll resume the trial. Okay, thank you.
Court, all rise.
Court's in recess, please exit the courtroom.
All right, that was it. Court started about 15 minutes ago, and then there was a quick sidebar, and then the judge addressed the jurors, 18 of them, 12 women and 6 men, and he said, this, what you're going to do today, this field trip is otherwise known as The View, not to be confused with the show. The purpose of The View is, he said, to help you better understand the evidence, the location, the surroundings. You are not allowed to talk about this on the bus. You're not allowed to discuss it, and you are not allowed to return to any of these 3 locations. They are going to go drive by the CVS. I'm not exactly sure what in the world that accomplishes. It's not like they're getting out. It's not like they're talking to anybody. Pretty much every CVS in the country looks identical. So I'm really not sure what that accomplishes. They're going to go look at 3V. I guess it gives them an idea of how far from the home it is. And they're going to CVS first, and then the restaurant, and then the home. The home is 47 Summer Street in Duxbury. What's interesting about this is the home was purchased. There is a new family living in there, and from what I understand, they have children. I've said this once. I'll say it 1,000 times. There's no amount of money. Even if I got the house for free, I'm a superstitious guy. I'm not moving in there. It's a beautiful house, but I'm not moving in there with my 3 kids after what happened to those 3 kids. What about you guys? Would you, STS, would you move into a house where this horrific triple murder took place? Nonetheless, they're going on this quote unquote view. Once they get to the house, and I'm not even sure, I assume the homeowners stepped away for a little bit. He said that 18 is too big. So they're going to go in 3 groups of 6. If you know math, 3 times 6 is 18. So 3 groups of 6. You can tell I've been around young kids too much, because I would ask my kids, how many people is 3 groups of 6? And they would probably say 12, 15. And I would say, try again. And eventually they would get to 18. So there you go. They're going to go look at the home. And I have a feeling, by the way, that they will be back like mid Karm and I show. So Karm and I are doing a show at 11 a.m. A lot of people ask, what does Karm think about this? I told her. She's in the Holy Land, but people have been asking, thank you to AR Wyoming, by the way, what Karm thinks about this, which is interesting, because I don't care that much about what Karm thinks about it, but I'm curious. So we're going to find out at 11 a.m. We're going to do like an hour show. I'm hoping the COE, this is a subtle way of me saying, provide some clips from Patrick Clancy's testimony, perhaps from the opening statements, and maybe a transcript, that last page of the 911 call, COE. All those things would be super helpful. Karm and I will do like an hour show. This will be up and running all day. People can chat, people can talk, you can discuss things amongst yourselves. And then once they're back in session, obviously you're going to get the trial. Once I'm done with the show, I will bounce back in here. This story has absolutely nothing to do with anything other than the fact that you never know who you're meeting or who you're talking to. But I went to soccer last night, met a lovely couple, speaking to the dad. Every dad in Miami seems to own a hedge fund, except for me. Talking to this very sweet father of 2. Lo and behold, he's from Brazil originally. And then I come to find out he's in the music business, and he does the mastering. In other words, he described it like this. A chef cooks the meal, and then he takes the meal and he makes everything taste just a little bit better. That's what someone does who does mastering on an album. And his wife says he is humble, and he was. You would never suspect this guy of, I don't know. He almost looked to me like he could have been a high school science teacher, just like an average American looking guy. But then I find out he's from Brazil. He did have a little bit of a Portuguese accent. And lo and behold, I find out that he's been nominated the last 12 years in a row for Latin Grammys and has won a bunch. And he works with some musicians regularly. You may have heard of one. Her name is Shakira, amongst others. You may have heard of another. His name is Bad Bunny. Anyway, this guy's a really big deal, and he was so low key and so cool. So I was just reflecting on that. You just never know who you're going to meet or who's who. And I never in my wildest dreams would have thought. And I said to him, everyone I meet here in Miami works in money or finance. So it was nice to meet someone who does something other than try to make more money every day as part of their living. That's my entire story. Try to share things with people. The courthouse is in Plymouth. Duxbury is the next town over. Plymouth to Kingston, CVS, 3V, Plymouth, Duxbury, round trip, 15-minute drive time. There you go. So this, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Sean Fuchs thanking me for the analogy on the mastering. I didn't come up with that. He's probably been asked about it so much that that's how he explained it. Shakira. Shakira. Lindsay Clancy will not go on the field trip, aka The View. It will be the judge, attorneys, and jurors. This judge, I mean, how do you not like this guy? His name is William Sullivan. He's a tall Irishman from the Boston area. Looks like, as my kids would say, a sweet grandpa. Probably has a beautiful family. He said he was I believe, a criminal defense attorney before becoming a judge on criminal matters. Just looks like a sweetheart of a guy. I got to say one thing about the people in Boston. They are just salt of the earth. The COE, I think I can divulge this, and I have before, has a pretty big crush on Bill Burr, the comedian. She blushes when she sees him. Doesn't bother me. She's never going to actually meet him. And if she does, what can I do? But they're all like Bill Burr-like. They're just funny. They're real. They're not. People in Boston, I mean, they don't take themselves so seriously. I wonder if Bill Burr is a fan of Shakira and Hips Don't Lie. Who knows? Does anyone else have a crush on Bill Burr? Does anyone know who Bill Burr is? He is the greatest comedian of this generation, without a doubt. Somehow, 931, I've already gotten into Bill Burr and Shakira. I'm not sure how that's happened. Yeah, Phil Donahue. That's a good call. This judge does look a little bit like Phil Donahue. And he's kind of got Phil Donahue vibes. May Phil Donahue rest in peace. Phil Donahue died, right? I think he is dead. Luckily, William Sullivan is alive. I hope he is alive. I have a simple question for everyone today. What is our purpose here on Earth? Has anyone ever pondered that? I meet this guy. He's Shakira's producer. You'd never know in a million years. Super low key. You meet Judge William Sullivan, who I've never met. He's doing his thing. What do we all do here? Why are we all here? What are we all doing? Are we here to be good people? Are we here to be parents? Are we here to be dog owners? By the way, Mike came to soccer practice and behaved phenomenally well yesterday. What is our purpose here? I have no idea, but it goes quickly. Just ask Karm. I'm sure we'll be talking about that. Love Bill Burr. Good question. No clue. This is the house. This is the house that they're going to go visit on 47 Summer Street. I mean, it doesn't get any more New England than that. I got to tell you, I don't like the cold. And I grew up in the cold. When you grow up in New Jersey, no one tells you, no one calls you aside and says, do you know that you're going to grow up in a state where the weather is horrible every other day? It's either going to be sleeting, too hot and humid, too warm, too cold. And then you move to Florida and it's just nice every day. I'm wearing flip-flops right now. It is August almost, so it is hot as you know what. James Fagan says Shane Gillis is a better comedian. James Fagan, please. It's like comparing Mozart to give me some horrible pop band. Shane Gillis is all right, but he is no Bill Burr. Shane Gillis would tell you he's no Bill Burr. Shane Gillis isn't even close to Bill Burr. I respectfully disagree. How much? Oh, Joel, how much time do you have? Like left on Earth, or to talk to you? So you guys are begging me to stop talking. Bill Burr used to be a lot funnier. You know what happens with these guys, and it happened with Chappelle. They become political. And that's where they go off the deep end. I'll agree with that a little bit. I will agree with that a little bit. Luxembourg is in the house, taking me back to, what do you want me to call this? A local phenomenon? No, it's a global phenomenon. These poor new owners, they were totally against this, but the judge forced it. For what purpose exactly? I don't know. But it's interesting when the government wants to do something, there go your rights, right? I'm sure the family did not want jurors walking in. I'm looking at the comments. It seems like a pointless stunt by the prosecution to do that field trip. Grace here with a great answer. We are here to learn. Maybe that's what it is. KP Katz, I don't think Bill Burr is funny at all. I guess comedy is very personal in terms of styles and stuff. Jubilant Cherry, Bill Who, look him up. He's a pretty funny dude. I never have seen Jeff Dunham, but I know the puppet is supposed to be Harvey Adelson, and I've seen a million photos of the puppet because everyone has sent him in. I do like stand-up, but Dave Chappelle is better than Bill Burr. I would say Dave Chappelle was the greatest, but he got way too, like, he doesn't even do comedy. He just rants about political stuff. And who wants to hear that when all you hear are people yelling about politics all day long? So get back to the comedy, Chappelle. We have a funny story. We once bumped into Dave Chappelle in Miami, the COE and I, and the COE was pregnant at the time. And three of us were on an elevator, and he said he didn't say a word. And then, like, halfway up the elevator, he looks at COE and he's like, "Damn, I'm so sorry for you guys." Instead of being like, "Congrats on the pregnancy," he went the other way, and it was funny. He was actually a very nice guy. He was smoking a cigarette in the elevator and then relit a new cigarette once he got out. Random encounter right there, but yeah. COE is never going to meet Bill Burr. You never know. Kelly McClellan says he is hilarious. Joel, will you and Karm be in this stream? No. COE, I have no idea how that works. Will people here be redirected at 11 to the Karm and I show? Yeah, Joel, Bill Burr is from Canton. Well, that's why I brought him up. People here will not be redirected. The whole reason I brought Bill Burr up is if you saw Joe Krowski on our show, he's got a lot of Bill Burr in him. They're just salt of the earth. It's like what you see is what you get. And they give you opinions. That's why I like Boston and Bostonians. Tom Papa is the GOAT, says SBG. He's pretty funny, and he's from Jersey. So there you go. And Tom Papa's brother, I believe, is Bob Papa, who does sports on the Fan and things like that. Tory, Bill Burr with the vomit emojis. I wonder how Bill Burr would feel about that. That you just put vomit emojis next to his name. Chappelle is probably the GOAT of the generation, I would say. All-timers, obviously, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, my dad's favorite, Lenny Bruce. He was the first one to do the stuff that these guys do today. So whenever you're the first, you go down in history. The COE is giving instructions here. You want to click on the STS live tab, and then there's another show that will go live at 11 a.m. Eastern time. COE, it's going to be hard to do that show without some clips. Bill Burr is no Mozart, although I think he's sometimes funny, sometimes too crass. That could be the case. You never know. What do you guys think? Do you think we're going to get a full day of court today? They haven't really gone past 3 o'clock. What are the chances on Friday they go to like 11 p.m.? They're going to come back. Also, who do you think we hear from testimony-wise once they return from this field trip? They went through 9 witnesses. So far we've had 13. Well, let me think about this. 12. We've had 12 witnesses in total in this trial. I'm sure next week we're going to start to hear from the psychologists and the therapists and the psychiatrists, and we're going to hear all of that. This is funny because it's all personal taste. I think Theo Vaughn is probably the least funny everything I've ever seen. Jim Gaffigan, very talented. Theo, probably to me, not funny at all. I just don't understand the popularity of Theo Vaughn, but that's where we differ. Robin Williams, obviously an all-time great. Different styles, definitely a different style than Bill Burr, no doubt. Look at this. Dana, she's all over the place, but look at this. Spain and Canadian Vancouver. I'm actually dying to go to Vancouver. We had friends that went to Vancouver Island, or the islands around Vancouver. And I don't know why. I want to visit Vancouver. Space Coast is with me. Theo is a weenie too. Theo is a weenie too. LOL. I just don't think he's funny at all. Not even a little bit. Like I just don't understand it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I do not get it. Brian Regan, I don't know enough about. We saw Whitney Cummings. She is very funny. Very, very funny. Some of these female comics are underrated. Ron White, never really seen his stuff. He is supposed to be hilarious. Howie Mandel, I like because he's got OCD and is weird, and I can relate. Don't really love his stand-up. Joel, get Dr. Leslie Dobson. She was supposed to be on this past week, but she had a conflict and couldn't make it. Monday night on the show already, believe it or not, I planned it out. We were getting emails, hey, you guys are so one-sided, which is not intentional. Hey, you're just showing defense people who are pro-defense. So Josh Ritter, it was prosecutor of the year, not to say that he is pro-prosecution, but he's going to come on and speak from the prosecution standpoint. And Steve Cohen is trying to get Matt Murphy of ABC 2020 fame come on with Josh. Josh and Matt are good friends. So hoping to get Matt Murphy on Monday night. J-Bone says Theo can be funny. He is weird. He's weird. I just don't think he's funny. I think he's more a disturbed human being than he is funny, and it's just like whatever, the awkwardness. But I just don't. I don't exactly think that Theo Vaughn is like some intellectual who comes up with funny jokes and has amazing techniques. I think he's just like, let me go on stage with a mullet and be weird. This guy right here might be the best ever, but it's just such a specific style. We're talking Stephen Wright from Boston. If you don't know Stephen Wright, then you don't know comedy. There's probably no one more clever than Stephen Wright in the stand-up world. The things that dude comes. I mean, you guys think that I'm a little weird? Listen to Stephen Wright do stand-up comedy. Like a brain just can't work that way. Oh yeah. We're doing a show Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. It is the 6-month mark of Nancy Guthrie missing, and there's news surrounding it. And Sheriff Chris Bananos has been doing the media circuit. And so we're doing a show, and on the show Sunday will be Lieutenant Bob Krieger, retired SWAT commander, retired Tucson homicide detective Kurt Dabb, and the godfather of true crime, Phil Ramos. And it'll be a serious but yet fun show on Sunday because it is the 6-month mark that Nancy Guthrie is missing. So you will get a bonus show on Sunday. Then I'll get through this trial, and then you'll probably never see me again because I will just collapse once this trial is over. I told the COE before we went to Canada, don't expect me to just go back and just start doing the podcast. I need a little break, both physical and a mental health break from true crime. So lo and behold, we're now covering a 5-week trial. But once this is over, I'm going to take a few more days before we go into Shanna Gardner. People here, look at this, watching. This is Court Dog Daniel, and he and I have been speaking via email. He's going to try to do some court reporting for us at some point, but he's watching from an RV, from his RV at a campground very close to the Plymouth courthouse. That's pretty, some people say, you know what, I'm going to get an RV and I'm going to go to different trials around the country. And one dude is doing it, and his name is Court Dog Daniel. So there you go. How big is this RV, Court Dog? That's what I want to know. Is it one of those little ones with like a cab up top, or are you rolling around in like a giant tour bus type RV that Metallica would be on? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. Nikki Glazer is funny. Seen her a couple times. Really has a nice one. I saw the video. COE is a nice one. Jeez. British comedians, Ricky Gervais, among the greatest. Mitch Hedberg was absolutely hilarious. George Carlin, no one better than George Carlin. My parents saw George Carlin, and they saw him here in Miami Beach. This has to be 15 years ago. And my parents said he started the entire show in absolute silence, did not say a word for 2 minutes. He just walked back and forth on the stage in Miami Beach. This is to an older crowd, by the way, because it's Miami Beach. And he's just walking back and forth on the stage. And after walking back and forth on the stage for 2 minutes in total silence, making everyone feel uncomfortable, he looked out at everyone and said, he started the show by saying, F you, but he said the words. And that's how he broke the tension. That's how he started. That must feel good to say that to a crowd. Must feel good. All right. I'm looking through the rest of the comments. I've obviously run out of things to say about this. The chat is rolling here. Joel suggested we take our family on an RV. I take that back. Sounds like the least relaxing. Just going from the soccer game yesterday in our little car back home was enough for me. I'm done with the RV idea. My idea is just a COE and I go on vacation instead of the kids. That's my idea. Kids stay home. When they're old enough to pay for vacation, they can go. I want to skate on the other side of the ice, Stephen. He's a weird dude. He's still going. But the stuff that he comes up with is very, very, very funny. Very funny. Very, very, very funny. All right, let's not forget about Sam Kinison. Yeah, let's not forget about Sam Kinison. Here's the problem. Someone said too vulgar. Vulgar and stand-up comedy typically goes together unless you're Jim Gaffigan. So have I seen Bob Marley, a Maynard? Is this someone other than the reggae singer? Is this an other Bob Marley? Yeah, I don't know. Like Bob Marley, the Bob Marley. Elle said she saw Carlin in Vegas. Someone else is from the UK. Let me get through the comments. Kennison, one of the best. Bah humbug, Joel. Does Joel know he has to dump the black water in an RV? I have no idea what that means. Zero. Michael McIntyre, not familiar. Ricky Gervais, I am. Ricky's, I love that dude because he rags on everyone in Hollywood, which I like. And obviously, he does not take himself too seriously. Andrew Dice Clay. Man, it's weird how many people like Theo Vaughn. I mean, I just don't think the guy is funny. but it's very personal. It's very, very, very personal. Stand-up comedy is personal. You like one style and you don't like another style. Shout out to Canine Catherine, who's out there. I see somewhere in the chat. All right. So Michael McIntyre, I'll check it out. Berkshire, South England, or is it Berkshire? I don't know, but you guys will let me know. It is 9:50. The jurors, Bob Marley is a comedian from Maine. Really? I never. Look at this. Media is allowed to follow. So they're keeping it transparent. COE, let us know if any of your reporter friends are tweeting back photos. Maybe we'll show them once we get back. But they're on what is known as The View, not the TV show, but they're on a field trip right now. These 18 jurors, they are going to the CVS. They are going to the 3V restaurant. They're going to 47 Summer Street in Duxbury, Massachusetts. And they're going to go to the house in 3 groups of 6. And the judge told them, once you go look at this house right here, you cannot go back to the scene. This is your one and only shot. What does it do? I have no idea, except maybe gives them the lay of the land about what is happening. But I am going to bounce myself out here because I've got a couple of things to do real quickly. And I will be here in an hour and 9 minutes with Karm. You can come join Karm and I. And the minute Karm and I are done, we will hop back into this chat and we will continue to follow trial coverage today on day 4 of testimony. So Scotland is in the house. Scotland's on fire. That is a song that all the Scots sing at the World Cup. Scotland's on fire. And then they picked up my son and tossed him around the stadium during the World Cup. The Scots are the best, man. They really enjoy life. And I don't know if they enjoy life more because they cleared out Boston and Miami of all of their alcohol, or if they just enjoy life either way. But there you go. Lindsay is allowed to go to the home. So we'll see what happens. All right. I'm bouncing myself out here, and I'll see you guys in an hour and 8 minutes now with Karm on the different stream. And then you guys are more than welcome. You can hang out here or come join Karm and I, or do a little bit of both. But we will be here throughout the trial day, and I will see you all in a little bit. Karm as well. See you guys.
Hi, everyone. COE. I want to let you know that we're going to be going live on another stream right now here. Yes, if you want to go to the live tab, you can click on the live. Oh, it's 11 a.m. with Karm. Thanks so much. And Joel, you're on the wrong stream.
For the purpose of the record, we return back to the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including the defendant, excluding the jury.
All right, thank you for that. Ready for the jury, Commonwealth?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, defendant? All right, let me bring the jury in.
Court, all rise. Jurors enter. This court's now in session. Please be seated.
Your Honor, for the purpose of the record, we return back to the trial of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including the defendant and including all 18 jurors.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Members of the jury, we're now going to return, as I told you before, to the Commonwealth's case, and I'll ask the Commonwealth to call their next witness.
The Commonwealth would call Mark Anthony Maffio to the stand.
While we're waiting, you want to just add for the record, same objection and standing
All right.
objection, so
All right.
that keeps.
Come on, sir. Come on. You come right here, raise your right hand for the clerk.
Good morning. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony and the evidence you shall give in the jury will not be between the Commonwealth and the Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
Watch your step here. Thanks.
All right, good morning, sir.
Your Honor.
All right, Attorney Buckingham, please.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please tell the jury your first and last name, please?
Yes, Mark Anthony Maffio.
And how about spelling your last name for the purpose of the record?
Maffeo.
And where are you employed, sir?
Duxbury Police Department.
How long have you been a police officer?
12 years.
And has your career been with the Duxbury Department, or do you work anywhere else?
I worked in Rockland and Cohasset prior to Duxbury.
So how long have you been at Duxbury Police?
9 years.
9?
Yes.
What's your current rank or assignment at the Duxbury Police Department?
Patrol Sergeant.
And I'm going to draw your attention back to January of 2023. What was your assignment then?
A detective.
Were you working on January 24th of 2023?
I was not. I was called in to work.
Okay, so who contacted you?
At the time, it was Detective Sergeant Jamali.
And is that the normal course in Duxbury when a larger incident or investigation occurs, that sometimes you'd be called in to work a scene if you're not on shift?
Yes.
And Detective Jamali, where did he tell you to go?
Initially was reported, I believe it was 42 South Summer Street in Duxbury.
And so do you recall if you went to that location?
I did.
When you arrived there, was the scene still active, meaning there were still kind of ambulances and everything on scene?
Yes.
Did you go into the house?
Not at that time, no.
Were you advised when you arrived on scene that one of the parties was being sent to the South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And so as a result of that information, what did you do?
I was then tasked with going down to South Shore Hospital.
Now, when you went to South Shore Hospital, did you know the party that was going to be transported there?
Yes.
Who was the party that you were going to meet?
I was advised it was one of the homeowners, Lindsay Clancy.
And you later became aware that the home at 47 Summer Street was the home of Patrick and Lindsay Clancy, correct?
That's correct.
And again, you were also later made aware that they had the 3 children.
Correct.
Were you advised of where the 3 children were?
Yes.
And how about the husband? Were you advised of where Patrick Clancy was?
I was.
As far as the people transported to South Shore Hospital, you came to learn that only Lindsay Clancy was sent to that location, correct?
That's correct.
Did you expect somebody else to be arriving there?
Initially, before I had left the residence, it was a little bit of confusion. They thought that the husband was also being transported to South Shore.
And at some point, were you later advised that that ambulance was turned around and sent to Beth Israel in Plymouth?
Correct.
So when you were at the South Shore Hospital, did you have an opportunity to observe Lindsay Clancy?
I did.
In what condition was she when you observed her at South Shore Hospital?
She appeared sedated and unconscious with several lacerations to her arms and neck.
Okay.
I have no objection to the photographs.
Thank you.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm going to show you 4 photographs real quick. If you could take a look at those.
Yep.
Do you recognize the individual in these photographs?
I do.
And were you present when these photographs were taken?
I don't recall.
Okay. As far as the condition that the person in these photographs was in, do you recall this to be a fair and accurate representation of what she looked like?
Yes.
I would ask to move these as the next 4
All right,
exhibits.
those may be admitted.
It's 110 through 113.
Sir, if I could just draw your attention to the screen, the side view. I'm showing you now what's been marked as Exhibit 110. And who is the individual depicted in this photograph?
Lindsay Clancy.
And those are the injuries that you observed that day of her on her neck?
Correct.
And showing you on the screen what's been marked as Exhibit number 111. Again, is that Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
And the injuries that you observed on January 24th on her neck?
Correct.
And 112, Exhibit 112, in the middle of this photograph with an arm extended, there are some cuts in a cut in the middle. Did you observe those on January 24th as well?
I did.
And finally, Exhibit 113, that would be the other arm. Did you observe those cuts to that arm?
Yes.
Now, in addition to observing her at South Shore Hospital, did you do anything to collect potential evidence that day?
I did.
And what did you do?
I gathered, I believe they had been removed from the hospital staff, clothing, pants, shirt, I believe it was a scarf, and wedding bands.
Okay. May I approach again?
You may.
I'm just going to show you 7
Thank you.
photographs, if you could take a look at those. Are these 7 photographs familiar to you? Are the items depicted in these photographs familiar?
Yes.
I'd move to admit these as the next exhibits, please.
Any objection?
I have no objection to any of the photographs.
They may be admitted.
It's 117 through 120.
It should be 114.7. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Reporter.
Now, sir, the items that you then collected, you said that they were provided to you. Who gave them to you?
It was one of the hospital staff.
Okay, and so in examining those, you would agree that those items had been cut off of the individual?
Correct.
And so after taking custody of those particular items, did other law enforcement arrive at South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And who arrived?
Trooper Lawler from the Mass State Police and Officer Lepard from the Duxbury Police.
And again, you had been at the scene at 47 Summer Street, correct?
Correct.
And then you went to South Shore Hospital. Were other members of the Duxbury Department at the Summer Street address and at other locations during the time you were at the hospital?
I would believe so, but I'm not positive.
And were you aware that the state police had become involved in this case?
Yes.
And based on your experience as a Duxbury officer, do you sometimes work in tandem with the state police on certain types of investigations?
We do.
And so when Trooper Lawler arrived at the hospital, did you turn over these items to him?
I did.
Now, in the time that you were at the South Shore Hospital, did you have the opportunity to speak at all with Lindsay Clancy?
No.
In the time that you observed her, was she responsive at all?
No.
Was she in custody at that point?
I would say yes.
Well, let me ask you this. As far as when a person is placed in custody, you usually advise them that they are, correct?
Correct.
I don't hear him saying that he's not sure. His answer was yes.
All right.
So I understand what the government.
Sustained.
When your department has somebody in custody, is it protocol to have an officer stay with that individual?
Yes.
And in this case, was somebody assigned to stay with Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
At the time you were at the hospital, was that your role?
Yes.
At some point, did someone else from your department come to keep watch?
Yes.
Who was that person?
I believe it was Officer Lepard. I know Officer Broderick was also assisting. I can't recall if he arrived at the hospital as well.
Okay, but you recall Officer Lepard?
Yes.
And once the scene was secured at South Shore Hospital, did you leave?
I did.
And where did you go?
Back to the address in Duxbury.
And that would be 47 Summer Street, correct? I think you might have said 42 at one point.
You're right. Yep. 47 Summer.
And at the residence at 47 Summer Street, did you assist other Duxbury officers in securing the scene upon the arrival of the crime scene services?
Yes.
Were you present when the Massachusetts State Police Detectives Unit executed a search warrant at 47 Summer Street?
I was.
And was that kind of later that night into the early morning hours of the 25th?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Counsel?
Could I see the exhibits that were just introduced? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning.
I've got a couple of other photographs that I'd like to, just since you were at the hospital at South Shore, if I could.
Sure.
Is that what Lindsay's condition was when you went in the hospital and saw her laying in the bed?
I don't recall those being on her legs, but I'm not 100% sure. But other than that, yes.
Other than that, yes?
Correct.
So I would offer that, Your Honor, if I could.
Any objections?
May we approach?
Sure, yeah. All right, that may be admitted. Sure, yeah, if you want to do that.
You at some point had a chance to take a look at her face, I imagine, sir.
Correct.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction?
Yes,
And she was unconscious at that point, was she not?
that's correct.
About this, Jim.
All right, that may be admitted.
And this, you said that there was some cuts on her wrist.
Yes.
That's a fair and accurate depiction.
Correct.
And cuts on the neck as well.
Correct.
And the other side, from the front.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
All right. All right, those photos may be admitted.
Thank you. And I'm just showing you another exhibit. This would have already been introduced into evidence, and this would be Exhibit 112. And this would also depict the area of the wrist. Is that correct?
Correct.
The cut was likewise. Exhibit 111 also shows the cuts on the neck. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, when you went to the house, you were a detective at this point, correct?
Correct.
And obviously, you're working in tandem at this time with the state police. They were also investigating, right?
Correct.
But you were the detective for the town of Duxbury.
One of them, yes.
One of them, okay. And one of the things counsel had asked you about was the clothing that Lindsay was wearing, and it was cut off, right?
Correct.
So I'm just going to show you and ask if this appears to be a fair and accurate depiction, rendition of, for example, one of her items of clothing.
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't know that, so I'm just going to just make sure it's in, that's all. Does that show that there's blood on that item of clothing?
Not that I see.
Okay. Was there some type of residue of paint or something on the clothing, if you recall?
I don't recall, no.
No. Did you notice on the pants any blood on the jeans? Well, if you recall.
I don't recall, no.
How about the, I guess it would be the top that was worn? Did you notice any blood on that?
No.
Was there a bra that was cut off, if you recall?
Yes, there was.
And the blood seeped through the clothing into the bra itself? Is that correct?
Correct.
And that would be obviously from outside the clothing and then into the bra that was being worn, right?
Correct.
That was off of these, Judge.
Right, any objection?
They're already in evidence. They've been marked, so I don't see that it's necessary to mark them again. They're the same photographs.
Well, I'll trust the representation there in evidence. I don't want to
All right.
upload the court. So if they're already in evidence, then that's good
I
enough.
just
for me.
admitted them through Sergeant Murphy.
But the bottom line is that you do agree that there was certainly blood on the interior and exterior clothing that she was wearing, right?
That's correct.
You'd also agree, sir, that there was blood in the area from the outside of the backyard directly underneath the window. Is that correct? Do you agree with that if you remember looking at it?
That is correct.
This way. The ground, the snow, and the leaves that were underneath, of course, there are a lot of people walking around, but you could see the blood
Correct.
directly underneth the window, right?
The back window.
You notice blood that was on the window sill itself on the second floor, one mark on that window ledge?
Yes.
You also noted blood that at some point had gone onto the two shingles that were in the area underneath that ledge, underneath that window, right?
Correct.
And off of the blood on the floor, on the ground with the EMT documents.
No objection.
All right, that may be admitted.
Exhibit 126.
Thank you. Now, the state police went and got a search warrant, right?
Correct.
And you were there when they were searching.
Correct.
You guys were helping out. Obviously, it was a group effort to search the house for relevant or material evidence, right?
Correct.
Now, one of the things that was seized were pill bottles. Is that right?
Correct.
You know why they were seized?
I do not.
Did you seize any pill bottles?
I do not.
Were you there when the state police seized the pill bottles?
I was.
Do you recall that the pill bottles were seized from, for example, in the kitchen? You opened up a cabinet and they were right on, a bunch of them lined up on a shelf.
I can't attest to that. I wasn't
Okay.
present for that.
Why don't I ask you this? Where did they get the pill bottles from?
You'd have to ask them. I wasn't there when they seized the bottles.
You weren't there when
I wasn't in that room. We were in multiple rooms at a time.
So I may stand corrected. I'm sorry. If I thought I asked you if you were there when the state police was seizing the bottles, and I thought you said you were.
I was in the house, correct.
In the house, but
Yes.
you weren't there when they were seizing anything.
Correct.
How about up in the bedroom? Did you go up in the bedroom?
I did.
Did you observe the blood on the floor?
I did.
You observed when you went in the bedroom, it was very cold, right?
Yes.
Obviously, because the window was open, right?
Correct.
And when you went into the bedroom, you made observations as a detective of certain items, such as, does this appear to be a fair, accurate rendition of the floor, blood drops on the floor?
It does.
In the bedroom?
Yes.
Is this a indication of the bed itself, the right side of the bed, additional blood that was located on the floor next to the boots?
Yes.
Does this appear to be the nightstand that was next to the bed?
It does.
And do you see what's on top of the nightstand?
Yes.
What's on top of the nightstand?
There's 2 cups, a knife, it looks like a jar or something, and maybe a clock.
Okay. Also blood drops?
Correct.
This is a additional photograph moving farther down towards the right side of the bed.
Correct.
This is a close-up of the knife that was on the nightstand, as well as the little cup that was there, and something that says deep sleep pillow spray. Do you see that?
Yep.
And that was on that top of the furniture, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this again is an area depicting various items of clothing. It looks like a little headband, a wire, perhaps to charge a phone, and blood on the floor.
Correct.
And this shows the location of the bed. Additional photograph of the blood towards the end of the bed, and also the area of the window, right?
Correct.
Okay. What off of these, Judge?
No, no. Back to that photograph.
Can I see counsel in regards? That may be admissible. That may be admitted.
Just for continuity, this also show a different angle, but basically the boots that I already showed you and the blood, showing that the blood kind of follows through along the edge of the bed, the furniture, and then up to the wall.
Correct.
Was there also, like, if you recall, one of those full-length mirrors?
I don't recall.
No. I don't have to judge.
All right. Any objection on that? All right. Those pictures may be admitted.
Thank you. So you had nothing to do...
Hold on a second, counsel. Just going to mark these.
Period. 127 through 135. So Mark.
So you had nothing to do with the seizure of any of the pill bottles, sir?
Correct.
And you don't have a memory of looking in the cabinet in the kitchen and seeing a number of journals or spiral-bound notebooks and books?
Correct.
Was that pretty much the extent of your involvement with this case that night?
That night, yes.
And you really didn't get involved with any further investigation on this matter as far as seizing evidence, except for what you've testified to, right?
We did seize, I located a laptop in the hallway closet.
Okay.
And that was, I believe, seized by the state police as well.
Okay. Anything else you recall? How about, do you remember when you guys were searching or you watched the state police searching, did they open up raw to the nightstand that was next to the bed with a number of pill bottles in it?
Again, I wasn't present when that was taken, so I can't attest to that.
How about Apple Watch, no?
I don't recall.
Thank you.
Okay. Attorney Buckingham, can you redirect?
Just briefly.
Sure.
Sir, when you were at the hospital with Lindsay Clancy, with the defendant, were the medical staff in the emergency department actively treating the wounds to her neck and her wrists?
No, they were not.
And when you came back to the home at 47 Summer Street to secure the scene and wait for crime scene services, nobody went into the house that didn't need to be there before crime scene services, correct?
Correct.
In your experience, is that normal?
Yes.
And so were you present when any of the photographs that were shown to you by defense counsel were taken?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So your testimony today about those photos is your best memory of what the scene looked like at that time?
Correct. Yes.
And as far as your role in the search warrant execution, fair to say there were quite a number of state police, Duxbury officers, as well as crime scene troopers on scene in the house during that. And each person, did they have their own kind of role in what they were doing?
Correct.
And did you kind of stay to your area?
Yes.
And you indicated that you only found a laptop in the first floor closet, correct?
Correct.
And so any of the other manners in which the rooms were searched, you were not a part of?
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further.
You didn't have to stay to your area as a detective in the Duxbury Police Department, did you?
Correct.
So you were able to go and assist with the search and go into the different rooms and look for potential evidence, right?
That's correct.
And do you remember approximately how many Duxbury police officers were in or about the house, either outside, on the porch, on the deck, in the house, downstairs, upstairs?
I don't.
Would it be more than 10?
No, I wouldn't say more than 10.
How about state police? You remember how many there were of them?
No.
So all told, when you consider that, the sheriff's department wasn't there too, were they, if you recall? Okay. Sometimes they send them to take pictures.
No.
I don't know if they, okay. Would you agree that there were probably more than 10 officers from state police and Duxbury police that would be doing this investigation?
Correct.
All right. A number of police cruisers, and then you have perhaps, just asking, the yellow tape,
Yes.
crime scene, don't pass it and all of that?
Correct.
Now, if I was, for example, to show up and pull up in my car and get out, and they're not going to let me wander in the house and look around, are they?
Correct.
I mean, that's just for law enforcement officers only until they clear the scene.
Correct.
That's after they execute their search warrants and find whatever evidence is relevant, in their opinion.
Correct.
That they seize, right?
Yes.
Once the scene is clear, then people are able to go back into the home, right?
Right.
And you don't know, I would imagine, when they cleared the scene.
Correct.
Thank you, that's all we have.
Anything on that?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Attorney Buckingham.
Call Richard Lepard.
Good afternoon, sir. Afternoon. Can you start by the raise your right hand for clerk?
Good afternoon. Can someone swear that the testimony in the electrician Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
Stop, please.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, sir.
All right. Attorney Buckingham, please.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please tell the jurors your first and last name?
Richard Lepard,
And can you spell your last name for the record?
Lippard.
And how are you employed?
I work for the Duxbury Police Department.
And how long have you been a police officer?
6.5 years.
Have you worked for Duxbury the entire time, or did you work someplace else?
The entire time.
What's your current assignment at the Duxbury Police?
Patrolman.
Back in January of 2023, were you also on patrol then?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working the day of January 24th, 2023?
Yes.
At some point while you were on shift that day, were you asked to assist in an ongoing investigation for an incident that occurred at 47 Summer Street in Duxbury?
Yes. I was called back in.
You were called back in?
Yep.
Had you finished your shift?
Yes, ma'am.
And so where were you asked to go?
To the police department.
When you came to the police department, where did they direct you to go as far as the investigation went?
South Shore Hospital in Weymouth.
And so when you arrived at South Shore Hospital, was there already another Duxbury officer there?
Detective Mafia was there.
Okay. And what was the purpose of you going to South Shore Hospital?
To overwatch the person in custody.
Okay. And did you learn who that person was?
Yes.
And fair to say that individual was a woman by the name of Lindsay Clancy, correct?
Yes.
What were your observations of her when you were at South Shore Hospital?
She seemed to be sedated, not speaking or anything on the hospital bed, just laying there.
And excuse me, when you were there, or during the time that you were there, did you ever have any conversation with her?
No.
Did she remain unresponsive during the time that you were there?
Yes.
And were you also there when somebody came in and took some photographs of her?
I do not recall.
Were medical staff tending to her during the time that you were with her?
Yes.
Where in the South Shore Hospital was this? The emergency department or someplace else?
Emergency department.
And shortly after you were there observing her, did she or did the doctors indicate she was going to be transported someplace else?
Yes.
Where was she going to go?
That she was going to be med-flighted to the Brigham in Boston.
And other than yourself or other law enforcement and medical staff, did anyone speak with her at the South Shore Hospital?
No.
And when you, when she was transported to the hospital in Boston, did you go along with the transport?
Yes.
Do you remember how she was transported?
It was a med-flight helicopter.
So you rode in the helicopter with her?
Yes.
And when you arrived at the Brigham in Boston, where did she go there?
She went to the emergency room.
Did you remain with her during that time period?
Correct.
And was there anyone else with you at the Brigham with her?
Officer Broderick.
And so the two of you were, what was your role?
Just to overwatch and stay with her.
At any point when you were with her at the Brigham, did she ever, was she ever awake or responsive?
No, not to my knowledge.
And how long were you at the Brigham with her?
About 15 to 16 hours.
Okay, so fair to say it was over the course of that night into the next morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Over the course of the night into the next morning, do you observe her medical status change?
There was some type of medical code during the nighttime. I'm not sure what it was.
Okay. But you were present in the room when that happened?
Yes, we were outside the room.
Outside.
Yep.
And the next morning, when your shift concluded, did somebody else from the Duxbury Police Department come and relieve you?
Yes.
During the time that you were there, did anyone besides medical staff or the law enforcement officers that you were with interact with the defendant?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right. Mr. Reddington.
Morning.
Morning.
Afternoon. So, a young man working for the town of Duxbury, and you were detailed to the home initially, correct?
No, sir.
You didn't go to the house at all?
No, sir.
Okay, you went directly to South Shore.
Correct.
And when you were at South Shore, your purpose was to, as you say, overwatch. Well, that basically is she was in custody at that point, right?
Correct.
So one of your obligations is to, I guess, guard the unconscious person and make sure to do what? Just to stand there?
Correct.
Okay. And you did in the South Shore Hospital, right?
Yes, sir.
And you made your observations of her, bandaged or whatever, laying in the bed, and she was not conscious, correct?
Correct.
And at some point, the decision was made medically that they were going to have her med-flighted to the Boston Hospital, Brigham and Women's, right?
Correct.
And that was by way of the helicopter.
Yes, sir.
You had a helicopter ride into Boston with her, right?
Yes, sir.
You were overwatching her in the helicopter again, right?
Yes, sir.
She still had not gained consciousness at all.
Correct.
She wasn't talking to you or medical staff or anybody, right?
Correct.
She was already had the tubes and stuff in her mouth coming out, and she was bandaged up and wrapped up and basically laying down in the gurney in the helicopter, right?
Yes, sir.
So when she gets to Brigham and Women's Hospital, they bring her into the emergency room, right?
Yes.
And that room was loaded with equipment, boxes, wires, tubes, buzzing, beeps, lights, things of that nature, right?
Yes.
Life-saving equipment that was in there, right?
Yes.
Very small room, wasn't it?
Yes.
Kind of hard to maneuver.
There was enough space for the medical staff to maneuver.
All right. And how many police officers were overwatching the unconscious person while she was in the emergency room at Brigham and Women?
2.
That would be you and the other officer from Duxbury.
Yes, sir.
At what point did the state police officers arrive in the hospital?
I don't recall them coming to the hospital.
Did you ever see state police in the hospital?
Possibly at South Shore Hospital, but not in Boston.
So you're in Brigham and Women's, off of the helicopter into the emergency room for a day, is that correct?
Correct, 16 hours.
Did you go back there again after that day?
To South Shore Hospital?
No, Brigham and Women's Hospital.
No.
So you're limited to the time that you were there as to you and your brother officer were there in the room with her, correct?
Yes.
And a number of nurses and doctors, right?
Yes.
Fair to say it was chaos. It was like bedlam in that room, wasn't it?
Yes, very busy.
And you don't remember any other police officers? How about internal police officers from Brigham and Women's Hospital? Do you recall them being there?
There may have been security, but I do not recall.
So is it your testimony that you do not recall any other police being in that room or outside the room when you were there?
Correct.
Now, at some point, police were detailed, if you know, to sit outside the room to guard the door. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what were you guarding against?
No, overall.
Anybody coming to visit?
Right, because nobody was allowed to visit, right?
Correct.
And then while you were there in the early morning hours, about 2:24 or something like that, there was, as you said to the jury, a code, right?
Yes.
And again, that kind of amped up the bedlam at that point, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
There were people running from all over, and you could hear on the microphone, code blue, with the room being identified, right?
Yes.
And that meant that she was dead or dying, right?
Yes.
She was chained to the hospital bed too, wasn't she?
I do not recall her being handcuffed.
You don't?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you recall when you left?
The Brigham, sir?
Yes.
The next morning around 10, from what I remember.
Okay. And you were relieved by who?
Officer Daly from the Duxbury Police Department and Officer Johnson from the Duxbury Police Department.
All right. So you've got 2 Duxbury police officers. And there, to your memory, were there any other law enforcement officers?
Not with them, no.
How about on their own? Did you observe other law enforcement officers come in that room or outside the room?
No, sir.
And then that was the end of your shift and you left?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Counsel, anything further?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. You sit down. Thank you.
That is the second police officer in a row, Officer Richard Lipper.
Commonwealth calls Dr. Mark Henowitz.
Officer before that was Mark Anthony Mafia.
For the record, Your Honor, I'm just voting object to this with agreed circumstances. And
Do you want to go to sidebar?
Yeah, please. Would you?
Here comes who I believe to be the first medical testimony. It sounded like a doctor was just being called. Correct me if I'm wrong there. We did hear Karm and I just got done doing our show. You can check it out under the live tab later if you missed it. Patrol Sergeant Mark Anthony Mafia was on the witness stand during our show, talking about how he had to do some protection over Lindsay Clancy, watch over her at South Shore Hospital, that she appeared sedated and unconscious, that he observed cuts and lacerations on her wrists and neck. They showed photos. It looked pretty significant. He also talked about how he removed her clothing, pants, shirt, scarf, and wedding bands to take into evidence. And then just now we were watching Officer Richard Lipper, who described it as an overwatch while she was in custody in the hospital. And one thing we had not heard, there was a code blue, meaning that Lindsay was maybe dying.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good
Morning.
afternoon. Sorry, you may have a seat.
Watch your stuff, please.
All right, good afternoon, Doctor.
Afternoon, sir.
If I may?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Mark Joseph Tenarowitz, MarkJoseph
And what is your date of birth, sir?
2/28/69.
What do you do for a living?
I was an emergency physician. I'm currently not acting as an emergency physician.
Okay. What do you currently do?
I do disability review for the state of Rhode Island.
And so directing your attention back to January of 2023, were you an emergency room physician at that time?
Yes, I was.
And where did you work?
Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth.
And could you briefly describe for the jurors your educational background and the training that you underwent to qualify to be an emergency room physician?
I did my undergraduate education at Trinity College. I did a one-year post-baccalaureate pre-medical program at Bryn Mawr College. I then got my medical degree from Brown University, and I did my residency in emergency medicine at UMass Memorial in Worcester.
And when you finished your education and training, did you work in emergency care after that point up until you changed positions?
I worked in emergency medicine from 1997 until May of 2025.
And directing your attention to January 24th, 2023, were you working in the evening hours that day?
I was.
And at some point in time, did you treat a child named Dawson Clancy?
Yes.
How did he arrive at the hospital?
He arrived by fire department ambulance.
And when he arrived, were you given a summary of his injuries by emergency personnel?
Yes.
What did you learn at that time?
I was told that he reportedly had been strangled and he was found without a pulse and not breathing.
And what observations did you make of Dawson yourself?
When he arrived, he had a breathing tube in. They had placed a device into the bone of his leg to give him intravenous fluids and medicines. CPR was in progress. He was not breathing on his own and he had no pulse and was not responding.
And did you observe any trauma to his body?
I believe there were some old appearing bruises on his legs
and there was some ruptured blood vessels on his face.
And did you observe anything in the area of his neck?
Not that I can recall.
And what did you do to treat Dawson?
We continued CPR. We continued to give him IV fluids. We gave him doses of adrenaline to try and restart his heart. We confirmed that the breathing tube was in the right position. We eventually gave medicines to treat the presumed acid buildup in his blood. We gave him calcium to make sure that his heart would, if it started again, would beat effectively. And that's what we did.
And how did you go about making sure that the breathing apparatus was in place properly?
Basically 4 ways. We detected carbon dioxide in the air coming out of his lungs, which usually just comes from the lungs. I listened and could hear breath sounds. I looked with a video laryngoscope to confirm that the tube was between the vocal cords going into the lungs, and we did an x-ray.
And when you say you were hearing breath sounds, was that him breathing on his own or something else breathing for him?
That it was someone breathing for him, squeezing the bag attached to the breathing tube.
Okay. And so that the breath sounds you heard just confirmed that whoever was squeezing the bag valve mask, the air from that was going into the lungs and then carbon dioxide was coming out?
He was not breathing spontaneously.
Okay. And are you, while all of this is happening, are you continuing to assess him and his condition?
Yes.
And what were your assessments?
So we would stop periodically every several minutes to very briefly check to see if he was breathing on his own or if he had a pulse. And he was not at any point. At one point, towards the end of the resuscitation, I used an ultrasound to determine if his heart was beating effectively, and there was no evidence of that.
Okay. And based on your training and experience, at some point in time, did you make a determination that your efforts weren't going to be successful?
I did, based on the time from when resuscitative efforts started in the field by the paramedics and the time that we put in, and the fact that despite the best resuscitative efforts we could, the fluids, the medicines, the CPR, breathing for him, it did not look like his heart would ever start again.
Approximately how long did you and your team work on Dawson?
I believe we worked on Dawson about 40 minutes in addition to what the paramedics had done previously.
At any point in time, did you try to use a defibrillator?
I did not.
And why is that?
He was unfortunately never in a heart rhythm that would have made defibrillation an effective treatment.
So your heart has to be in a certain condition for a defibrillator to even work?
Yes, there are 2 heart rhythms, basically equivalent of the heart, that if you use a defibrillator, you can restore a rhythm that makes the heart beat effectively. He was never in one of those rhythms.
And at some point in time, did you declare Dawson deceased?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall when that was?
I believe from my review of the records recently, it was at 1928.
In 1928, would that be 7:28 p.m.?
That's correct.
Thank you, doctor.
Mr. Reddington.
Good afternoon. You indicated that you observed what appeared to be older bruises to his legs, his lower
Yes.
legs, that like shin area? That
Yes.
And you also had an interosseous device, I think, is that what you said?
Yes, he did.
And that would require inserting a needle or something into the actual shin bone area?
Yes, into the tibia.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
All right. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Well, that was horrific.
Almost called Dr. Benjamin Kaufman.
Another doctor coming in. This was an ER doctor who treated Dawson Clancy, the middle child. He had been told, the doctor, that he was strangled. He was not breathing. He had a breathing tube in. He had a device in his leg. No pulse, ruptured blood vessels on the face. Doctor continued CPR. They worked on him for 40 minutes and was declared dead 7:28 p.m. Next doctor is coming up now.
It's not only fair that the testimony of the evidence should be
I do.
Thank you, sir. You may take a seat.
Watch your step, please.
All right, good afternoon, Doctor.
Just for the record, Your Honor, I'd like to just note, same objection.
Same ruling.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
It's Benjamin Kaufman, BenjaminKaufman.
And your date of birth, sir?
September 10th, 1984.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an emergency medicine doctor.
How long have you been doing that?
About 12 years.
Could you briefly describe for the jurors your educational and training background that qualifies you for that role?
Yeah, I went to Boston University for medical school, and then Kings County for residency training, and then Columbia for fellowship in global emergency medicine.
And where do you currently work?
Beth Israel in Plymouth.
And back in January of 2023, did you work there?
I did.
And specifically on January 24th, 2023, were you working that evening?
I was.
And while you were working that evening, did you treat a patient named Clancy?
Yes, that was my patient.
And do you recall how he arrived at the hospital?
Yes, with the EMS, with CPR ongoing.
And is it typical that when EMS arrive with a patient, they give you kind of a summary or a rundown of the patient's condition?
It is.
And did they give you that rundown on Callan's condition?
They did. He, at the time, his heart had stopped and CPR was ongoing, and he was not breathing. He was receiving breaths by a bag valve mask ventilation.
And what did you do in terms of treating Callan?
So as soon as he came in, basically we put in a breathing tube, and we were able to get an IV established. The first thing that we do is give a dose of epinephrine. And in this case, you can look directly at the heart with an ultrasound, and his heart started beating after we were able to give that dose. At that point, we continued compressions, continued giving him breaths through the breathing tube. And Plymouth Hospital does not have pediatrics or the ability to care for that level of pediatric patients. So we're on the phone with Boston Children's Hospital, making preparations basically to get him to the more definitive care.
And about how long into your care of Callan did he regain a heartbeat?
Probably from the time that he got to the ER, maybe like 10 minutes or so, I'm guessing.
At any point in time, did he regain the ability to breathe on his own while he was in your care?
No.
Did you do any examination or testing to determine Callan's brain function?
So at no point did he exhibit any brain function. I'm not like a neurologist, so we are not the definitive person, but in emergency medicine, there's a scale called the Glasgow Coma Scale, which is generally from 3 to 15. There's different variations for pediatrics, but he scored the lowest, which basically is you're in a coma or have no brain response during the entire time that he was in my care.
So on that scale, the 3 to 15, 15, would that be someone who's walking and talking and acting normally?
That's correct.
And a 3, is that someone with no brain function?
That is correct.
And you testified that Callan was at a 3 when you treated him?
At no time during his care did he have any brain function that was evident on my exam.
And at some point in time, was it decided to transfer his care to Boston Children's Hospital?
Yes, we were in contact with him basically immediately, and then he was flown by helicopter to Boston Children's Hospital, and the whole time the ICU doctors were on the phone reviewing the case and making recommendations.
And at any point in time, to your knowledge, from the time he entered the emergency department at Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth until he arrived at Boston Children's Hospital, was he able to breathe on his own?
No.
Thank you, doctor.
All right, counsel.
I have no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, doctor.
That was Dr. Benjamin Kaufman, an ER doctor, well
Attorney
and highly
Buckingham.
trained.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth would call Melissa Arcadipane.
Talked about how he was able to give Callan, the baby, epinephrine. The baby survived for 3 days, albeit brain dead. The brain had no activity, he said, but they were able to get his heart beating, but he succumbed to his injuries 3 days later. So we are now hearing from the doctors, and I believe this might be another doctor coming right up.
Up right there. Raise your right hand to the clerk.
Good afternoon. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give that you shall give to the court and the jury the matter
I don't need to tell you, Lindsay Clancy is absolutely sobbing and breaking down here.
Good afternoon. Attorney Buckingham, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you please tell the jurors your first and last name?
Melissa Acadapane.
Can you spell your last name for the record?
Arcadipane.
And did you work for South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And what was your role at South Shore Hospital?
My last role was a supervisor of the specimen processing department in the laboratory.
And do you still work in that role?
No.
Okay. Back in 2023, specifically January, were you in that role?
Yes.
And how long had you worked for, or have you worked for South Shore Hospital over the course of the years?
Over 20 years.
You said that you were the specimen processing supervisor?
Correct.
What are the general responsibilities for that role?
Overseeing the department where all of the specimens from within the hospital and even outside of the hospital will come in through that department to be received, checked, make sure they have orders, make sure they're collected in the correct tube.
And the laboratory at South Shore Hospital is responsible for processing blood samples, urine samples that come from other areas of the hospital, correct?
Correct.
So can you just generally tell us how a blood or urine sample would come from the emergency department at South Shore Hospital to the laboratory?
So in most cases, blood sample or urine will come through a pneumatic tube system from the emergency room. They'll put it in a tube, hit a button, and it will come over to the lab, which is what's across the street. And we would take it out of that canister and process it at that point.
And the specimens that are collected in a place like the emergency department are done by a nurse or technician who takes the samples, puts them in the appropriate vial or tube, and labels them, correct?
Correct.
And so when they come to you through that pneumatic system, what does your laboratory do with the samples?
Well, we check the sample, make sure it's labeled, make sure it's in the correct tube, and then we would process it.
And traditionally, would your laboratory receive several samples, meaning several vials of blood or urine from one patient?
They could, yes.
And as far as the orders for testing, you at the laboratory would only run particular tests that are ordered by a physician, correct?
Correct.
Does that usually consume the whole sample that you receive from the emergency department?
Not always, no.
And so would it be a common procedure that samples from a particular patient would be retained in case additional testing needed to be done?
Yes.
And working in the lab as the specimen processing supervisor, are you familiar with what is referred to as a preservation notice?
I am.
What do you know that to be?
So that is a notice that we would receive from a law enforcement agency asking us to hold specific samples for a particular patient.
And what would your laboratory do when you receive a preservation notice for a particular patient?
So the samples would be pulled aside, they would be put in a specimen bag, a copy of that preservation notice gets put in the bag with the samples, and it is put in a separate bin within the specimen refrigerator.
And the specimen refrigerator, is that a place that specimens are stored until they're either used or discarded?
Correct.
And does that preserve the specimen?
Meaning well, they need to be refrigerated. So, but we separate those specimens that potentially could be needed elsewhere into a separate spot so that they don't get discarded.
Now, were you aware that a preservation notice had been served on South Shore Hospital for the blood and urine of Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023?
I was.
And were those samples of blood and urine collected in the same manner you just described and put in a separate bin?
Yes.
And on January 31st, 2023, did you have the opportunity to interact with a trooper from the Massachusetts State Police?
I did.
And what was that interaction? Can you describe it to us?
He came with a warrant to collect the specimens.
And so did you collect the specimens that were labeled for Lindsay Clancy?
I did. Somebody had already put them in that bin in a bag, so I just went to the bin, retrieved them, made sure they were hers, and gave them to the officer.
And in fact, you handed over 6 vials of blood and 1 vial of urine to the trooper on that day, correct?
I don't remember the exact samples or sample type that I handed over, but I do know that I gave him samples.
Okay, and as far as your memory, you recall that you double-checked the ID label on the items to make sure that they belong to Lindsay Clancy, correct?
Definitely.
Okay. Nothing further, thank you.
Counsel?
No questions, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Your Honor, at this time, the Commonwealth would move to submit the certified medical records from Beth Israel Deaconess in Plymouth for Cora Clancy, Dawson Clancy, and Callan Clancy in one binder.
No objection.
All right, they may be admitted.
We could approach sidebar.
Yes.
Okay, another sidebar. This last witness is not a doctor, but a specimen supervisor. Melissa Arkadepane took the stand. There was no cross, and interestingly, no cross of the last doctor who treated Callan. That was Dr. Benjamin Kaufman, but there was a cross from the first doctor who treated Dawson Clancy. His name was Dr. Mark Joseph Tenorowitz, and the cross there related to some old bruising on the legs of Dawson and a needle that had to be inserted into the tibia to try to get his life back, which sadly failed. So now we're at a sidebar. We are moving through witnesses at a breakneck speed here. It is moving quick and fast. Got a frantic call from the COE to rush home. It appears that another possum has been murdered or just found not alive anymore on the Waldman property. We don't know if it's a result of Ethel and a violent streak in her, or from Fred, who has never been known to do that. But nonetheless, the COE is worked up over it. And so my lunch break, when we go on lunch, will be to scoop up yet another possum on the Waldman property. So I just want to let you all know that that's where we stand at the Waldman household. COE wanted me home immediately after the Karm show. To deal with that, COE has a tendency to overreact to certain things, this being one of them.
Listen, jury, in talking to counsel, we are going to break for today. All right? What I was talking about over here is in regards to the schedule where we are. We are, if not on schedule, at a schedule. All right? And much of it is because of the work when you're not here, counsel is going over some of the exhibits and some of that, and that's part of some of these breaks, at least for you. All right, so I just kind of want to let you know that's what's going on. So I'm going to excuse you. I know it's been a long week anyway, so we're going to take a break till Monday. All right, and on Monday the schedule anticipation will start about 9, maybe a little bit later than that. But I ask you to be here ready to go at 9. There's some matters I may have to talk to counsel, so it might give a little bit late start for you on Monday. And then the anticipations will go most of the day. All right. Like I said, we are well on schedule, if not ahead. What I want to remind you now, which you know I'm going to remind you, that you're going to be not here for a couple of days. It's very important. You've heard some of the evidence. You haven't heard all of the evidence. All right. You haven't heard the law that you will apply to this. So you have to keep an open mind. And the best way to do that is don't talk about this with anyone. Don't do any research. Don't watch anything. If something comes on, turn it off. And just like I said, if you're talking to somebody who brings it up, blame me. All right? The judge said I am not to talk about it. I'm not to listen to anybody talking about this and shut them down right away. I appreciate all the work that you've put in here so far. I look forward to seeing you on Monday. I hope you have a nice weekend, and we'll see you then. All right, thank you.
Court, all rise.
Sure, close your notebooks, please place them on the chairs. All right.
What is going on with these days? I'm going to wait for the jury to exit, hear any last comments, and then we'll wrap this up. Lindsay is still trying to compose herself here.
This court's in session. Please be seated.
All right. Anything else we need to address before Monday morning? Counsel?
No, thank you.
All right. So we'll be in recess on this matter until Monday morning at 9 o'clock. We'll resume the trial. Thank you.
Thank you.
Court, all rise.
I mean, there was no court Tuesday because of prior commitment the judge had, and then there were 2 half days. Court ended early yesterday, 12:42 Eastern time here in the United States. Just after lunch here, they were going to break at 1 and then come back for another 3 hours. What is going on? And I'm just wondering if maybe witnesses aren't lined up. You had 2 doctors come. I was expecting a 3rd doctor since there were 3 children. Don't know why there wasn't a 3rd ER doctor, if a 3rd ER doctor is going to be called. But this is a little frustrating in terms of following the trial, but doesn't really matter how we feel. This is all based on how the judge wants to run the show. And right now, he says that they're on schedule, if not ahead of schedule. This is not going to go 6 weeks. There's no way. I think that next week they're going to go through the psychologists, at least for the Commonwealth. Calvin says, now you know why the trial is going to be 8 weeks. Joel, did you see the new COE message? I saw something about a 20-pound possum. I'm not going to be moving a 20-pound possum unless you get me some sort of like backhoe or like a pickup truck or something. That sounds way too juicy and kind of unreal. Why do I have to go home on a Friday and deal with this now? We get a cockroach in the house and I come home to a swimming pool of raid. And we live in Miami, so there things like this happen. It happens in the trailer parks. It happens in the mansions. We're somewhere in the middle, closer to the bottom of that. But why do you have to unload an entire spray can of Raid on a single cockroach? I actually like to save the cockroaches. I don't like to end their lives. I like to catch them in a cup and send them out. That's just me. I'm trying to figure out the deal with, and now I'm stalling because I don't want to go home to have to remove this opossum. I really don't. I might have to ask our next door neighbor, Max, who's much more handy and seems to like my kids at times more than I do, and just took them to the movies the other day. Maybe Max will do it for me. I don't know. Palmetto bugs, not roaches. Stacy Daub is letting me know. Yeah, right there. That's Stacy. Any guesses before we go as to why the judge sort of abruptly ended trial yesterday and now did it again today at 12:45 Eastern time? Any guesses as to why? You've never seen a cockroach. That is the 222. Where do you live, the 2? Cockroaches are pretty prevalent here in the United States of America. And like I said, can't go anywhere in Florida without seeing a cockroach because they're everywhere. Is Max safe? That's questionable. He is our neighbor. He's a lovely young man. Max is pretty safe, I would say. Max is married with 2 young children. This is the house. I went to visit the house on 47 Summer Street, ironically called Summer, even though it looks like winter there. Even in the summer, it's probably like winter up in Massachusetts where it is cold, but it does get warm in the summer. Again, maybe the nature of the case, someone says, and that's why they, the 2 lives in Banff, Alberta, Canada. Yeah, there's not going to be a lot. Can we come visit you in Banff? I would love to come visit you, especially if you're willing to look after 3 children. I'd be more than happy to come visit you. But that's why you've never seen a cockroach, because it's cool there at all times. Someone is saying to get Max. Bice is saying to get Max. I have no idea why the trial ended early. We're going to be on this next week. STS Nation has convinced us to stay on the trial. A quick reminder, Sunday, we are doing a 1 p.m. Eastern show with 2 retired law enforcement officers from the Tucson area and the godfather of true crime, Phil Ramos. There is news permeating the Nancy Guthrie case, and we will look at that as we are. Tomorrow will be 6 months since she disappeared. Joel, I have the air on in Mass right now. No, I know it gets hot in Massachusetts. This photo is just an unbelievable photo. This is obviously during much better times. We've all heard the best of times, the worst of times. I'm not sure how Lindsay Clancy is just able to be, period. Watching her during that testimony, she is imprisoned for the rest of her life, no matter which way you slice it, whether it's a day from now, a month from now, a year from now, 50 years from now. She has the scarlet letter, not put on her by other people, but I think by herself. She will never be able to move on beyond this, which is prison in and of itself, whether or not she actually goes to prison or whether or not she ends up in a psych hospital. It is the weekend now, officially for us here at STS. In just a moment, the COE and I are going to be here tomorrow working on the new studio. When you finally see the new studio, you're going to say, what took so long? Why did they even work on this? Because you're going to see about this much of it behind me. But we're going to have a second camera that shows you the entire studio. And we're switching over to a new software system. So expect quite a few hiccups, because there are hiccups without switching everything over. But now that we're going to switch everything over. But I bet even Walter Cronkite had hiccups during the best of times and the worst of times. Those kids are adorable. Bubbly Bubblem says they had adorable cheeks. Yes, they did. Is it a heartbreaking case? Yes, it is, according to Tammy Martin. Again, I'm just stalling so I don't have to go shovel up a 20-pound possum right now. But that's what I've got to go do. Linda Mon is disappointed in me now. Why are you disappointed in me? We'll eventually do a studio tour. Stream tonight. I just did a stream with Karm at 11 a.m. No stream tonight. There will be a stream Sunday. And this is just a brutal case. So everyone, take care of yourselves this weekend. Try to get out of true crime mode and do something fun. Do something nice. Do something nice for somebody else. Leslie Botkin, Karm's BFF here. I like that name. June bugs, lightning bugs, cicadas, 17-pound possum. There you go. What do I do with a 17-pound possum? Do you put that in the garbage? Do you put that in your neighbor's yard and just hope they don't know that you put it there? What do? I don't know what to do. Can you call animal control? Possum power. We might film this and put it on Instagram at Surviving the Survivor, on Twitter at Podcast STS, so I can torture the rest of the world. And please, on your way out, hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us tremendously. And we've got a Patreon page that helps us tremendously more. We're back live Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and then back Monday for this trial. I'm just letting everybody know once this trial ends, I'm going to be taking a week off before we head to Shanna Gardner. We'll try to get you taped shows for that week. And I'm now in a sedentary job. I've got to get back to the gym. Got to work out, because how else are you going to lift 20-pound possums? You got to go to the gym for that. Love you all. Love you, Plymouth, Mass. Cora, Dawson, Callan, we are thinking of you. Patrick Clancy, Lindsay Clancy, this is a horrific, horrible, awful situation. Is it a crime? Is it a psychotic episode? That is for the jury to decide. We'll see you Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you all.